Zvonimir Ivisic, aka Big Z, is in the transfer portal. The one-time Kentucky Wildcat turned one-time Arkansas Razorback turned whatever he becomes next is one of my favorite players in the country. I know Cart agrees. When he first committed to Kentucky, Calipari's last year, we were like in love with the kid. So were Kentucky fans. They made billboards trying to get him eligible. And then he got eligible, had the best game of his career in his first game, in the first half of his debut as a Kentucky Wildcat. Unfortunately, has been desperately trying to find that ever since. He did take a step up. He played more minutes in year two under Cal at Arkansas than he did in year one. Averaged 8.5 points, 4.5 rebounds, shot 38% from three on nearly 4 attempts a game in 19 minutes a game. Started about half of Arkansas's games this year. The big issue is that as the season went on, Cal decided you're not the guy anymore. And when Cal decided you're not the guy anymore, that's really when Arkansas got really good. So Jonas Adu took over the front court minutes. They got better defensively. The team made an NCAA tournament run. That wasn't happening with Big Z in the lineup. So I think it makes sense at this point that both sides would look to move on. And the rumor here is that he may be reuniting with his brother in Champaign sooner rather than later. But first, talk to me on Big Z. Do you still believe that there's a great player somewhere in here?
I do. I think Big Z, unfortunately, I don't think he fits the college mold, to be honest with you. I think he's slow. I think he moves his feet slow. I think he processes the game a little bit slow. And I think a center, specifically, within college basketball, plays a little bit more complex of a role than maybe in the NBA. Whereas in the NBA, like I could see him just standing at the 3-point line, parking himself there. He shoots threes, he dives to the basket, he gets dunks. There's a lot more I feel like centers in college basketball are asked to do a little bit. I think he's a brutal defender. Like he's not, if I'm being completely honest, I think he's a really bad defender, unfortunately. He blocks shots well. But if he doesn't block the shot, he doesn't really affect it. And sometimes I'd rather have the guy who doesn't, average 2 blocks a game, but every time you go into the paint, you feel his presence. Man is the perfect example of that. Where like, he has a lot of blocks like he had against Bama, but there might be a game where he has no blocks, but every time you drive to the basket, man's there. I don't think anyone really fears going at either of Ivisic brother, if I'm being completely honest. But he does a lot well. I think he's a willing passer. I think he can shoot the three ball well, and he is 7'2". So some of the issues that I say he has on defense, very easily could be fixed in a short period of time.
So he's a remarkably similar player to Big T if you haven't watched him in terms of how they're used in college and what they do. What I will say is that Big T is actually like the more centery of the two, which I think Illinois fans that haven't paid much attention to Z might be confused by because Big T is not like I don't know, not the most physical of centers, right? He's a guy that wants to float to the perimeter on offense and defensively just sort of sits in drop. And if you have to get him out of drop, it usually doesn't bode well for your team. So that's not to disrespect him, but like Big T is the center here. And Big Z is like this 6, 7'2" guard, which is crazy. Um, the issues for Big Z throughout his 2 years under Cal have been that he just never broke through from a trust standpoint to be a full-time five. That's the reality. He got like 1/3 of the game as a freshman and showed big upside, but made a bunch of defensive mistakes and seemed clueless. And then as a sophomore, he had some really, really loud, awesome games, but more often than not, he would sort of shoot himself in the foot with his minutes. I will say this. This is not what I would have said a year ago because NBA people and everybody that was scouting this told us Big Z was the better player. From what I have seen, Tom Ivisic is a lot better than Big Z. They can do the same things, but Tom is like a legitimately great starting center. Big Z is like this erratic, all over the place wild card. And if you're Illinois, I will say this: you should take Big Z. I'd be super excited about getting both of Ivisic brothers together. To me, I think it would be a disaster trying to play these two together, just because neither one is quick enough to play the four, and they're just gonna be kind of clueless, I think, together as a pair. But basically, if you got 40 minutes guaranteed per game of an Ivisic brother at center, I think you take that if you're Brad Underwood and live with it and feel like you have one of the better center spots in the country.
Yeah, I mean, what's the name of the kid from Santa Clara they're in on?
Christoph Tilly.
I'd rather have him. I'm gonna just be honest. I feel like I would actually rather have him than Big Z if I'm being honest. Big Z, in my opinion, is a little bit more of the talented player just from what we've seen. That's what I like about Christoph Tilly, though, is that unknown. I think if you go in with both the Ivisic brothers, like you said, you're taking 40 minutes of the Ivisic family on the court, and that is a good product. But every team in the country also knows if the Ivisic brothers don't do something defensively, they know for 40 minutes it's food inside that paint. And it's hunting time for everyone in the Big Ten. And at least with Christoph Tilly, there's like, yeah, like maybe he can do a little something defensively against the Big Ten. Like we respectfully, the Big Z and Big T know that they can't. What I would find interesting is you're going to get 40 minutes of the Ivisic brothers, but you probably get what, like 5 to 10 where they play together. That could be fun. That could be a lot of fun if they're both on the court at the same time and you spread the floor and you have two 7-footers on the 3-point line.
Offensively, there would be nothing like it in the country. Defensively, I think it'd be a disaster unless
Yeah.
you sat in his zone. But
Oh,
Big Z
yeah.
trying to chase a four somewhere just would be a total mess. But yeah, it's an experiment we're trying. The other thing I would say, like, I know I've given a lot of criticism to Brad Underwood and his program in the last couple of days, but look, Big T looking as good as he has immediately for Underwood makes me really optimistic that Big Z would do the same.
Yeah.
Like if we put Tom Ivisic in John Calipari's hands, he might look worse than Big Z. I don't know. Like I have no idea. But Big Z is this super talented, humongous guy with a great jump shot that much the way Big T was sort of put in a really good spot to succeed and look great right away. I won't be surprised if Underwood's able to do that too. So the one thing that needs to happen here though, if you're going to rock with these two guys together, you better have some actual physical guy in the front court to give you some minutes somewhere. Doesn't need to be a center, could be a full-time four. I don't know. I'll be honest with you. Merez would have worked great for this, right? Just get a dog somewhere else to pair with these guys. And I feel like you're going to have to prioritize that somewhere. And from what we've heard, Illinois does want three different front court bodies in the rotation for next year. So if two of them are Big T, Big Z, third one better be a dog. And if you do that, I think it could work.
All I'm gonna say about Mraz is if he knew the Big Z stuff, I just want to tell Mraz I get it, brother. Everything, everything you're feeling, everything you're saying, like I get it. I all that frustration, like I get it. But I mean, they do need a dog next to these two. And straight up, they need somebody that can play a little defense because I do think in theory, like depending on some of the teams you go up against in college basketball, you could play Big T specifically at the four and kind of hide him defensively with like a rim protecting center next to him. I mean, to be quite frank, they tried to do that with Merez at times this season. So I think if you're able to get a dog that can protect the rim, that makes this work so much better than if it's like straight like Big Z, Big T, and then we'll fill in the blanks around these two. There needs to be somebody else in that. Like make a little trio of big men there.
Yeah, no, I agree. It'll be interesting to see where this goes. What I have heard, I mean, the early returns I'm hearing are that he's going to Illinois. I'm not even going to bring up other schools. Maybe there will be a list. I don't know. But the full expectation here, I think, from all parties involved is this is a done deal to Illinois. So at minimum, it's a really interesting ad. You know, I love my sibling duos in college basketball. Illinois now has one of my favorites in the front court. There's a bunch of questions around them, and there's a bunch of questions with them. But at minimum, it's a really insane combination of size and skill that no other program has right now. It'll be fun to watch. It'll be fun to see how this shakes out. And maybe nicest thing, I know Dion, NBA scouts love these guys. So I think in 2029, I think both are mocked in the first two rounds. So in theory, you get 7 more years of the Ivisic brothers before it's time for the NBA scouts to be right about how good they are.
Yeah, we get 7 more years of the Ivisic brothers. If my dog Rizzy hires me, I have found the loophole for him to get a few more years.
Well,
uh,
the thing is, if Big Z was allowed to play 7 more years in college, he would, by the way. To be clear, these are two European brothers who have come to America with professional basketball hopes and then looked up and said, "Ooh, college bar scene, lot more fun than NBA." So Green Street is about to be going up with Zvonimir Ivisic in orange.
can I propose? I want Merez at Arkansas.
uh politely declined because I'm trying to get Merez for me. We have more on that soon. We'll see. We'll have a commitment video if this breaks, but good luck, Big Z. Excited to see where this goes.
It is March, and that means that March Madness is upon us. And if you are looking for a place to play, Underdog Fantasy has you covered. Sign up and deposit using code SLEEPERS, that's code SLEEPERS, to receive up to $1,000 in bonus credit plus a free pick. Head over to Underdog Fantasy today and use promo code SLEEPERS to take advantage of this amazing offer.